That growing anger over the way that A-levels have been graded as grammar school heads and sixth form colleges are joining the criticism of the government this morning.
Pupils have been protesting this weekend after almost 40% of grades in England awarded last week were lower than they had been predicted. In the last half an hour or so, it has been announced that GCSEs in Northern Ireland will be awarded on the basis of teacher-assessed grades.
Well, speaking on this programme, the Sixth Form Colleges Association demanded swift national action on the England's A-level grades.
What we should be doing now is immediately recalibrating the algorithm, rerunning it immediately, and not through a process of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of appeals, but we need to do a national institution level automated rerun as a single appeal.
We've had a number of guests this morning. We did ask to speak to the Education Secretary, but that request was turned down by the government. We can speak to our political correspondent, Iain Watson, who's in Westminster for us this morning. And Iain, there are growing calls now, aren't there, for the government to change the way they've done things, to think about GCSE later this week. But they appear at the moment, at least, to be sticking to their position.
Well, that's right, Dan. Certainly later this week in England, Wales and Northern Ireland, the GCSE results are due to be published. And again, many Conservative MPs are worried that this will be a toxic day for the government because people will be once again downgraded. We've just heard, of course, that Northern Ireland are now going to award the GCSE results on the basis of teacher assessments alone, but there seems to be no move in England to do likewise, and there seems to be no move either to do a complete U-turn, unlike the Scottish Government who decided to use teacher assessments in their exam results. There seems to be no appetite to do so in government. What the government would emphasise is that they're trying to inject fairness into the system, that there will be a robust appeals process that is currently being worked on. The initial guidance was withdrawn, so there'll be a new guidance on appeals, and there will be an opportunity for pupils also in the autumn to sit exams if they feel so strongly about it and if they're willing to defer university or further education places. So no chance yet of a U-turn, but Labour are now calling for the government to have a rethink. Kate Green, the Shadow Education Secretary, spoke in this programme a little earlier.
So we did say last week that the government should use teacher-assessed grades in respect of A-level students, underpin that with an appeal system in case a student feels that their teacher-assessed grade isn't correct. But now, of course, we don't know what sort of appeal system students are going to be relying on. So it's a completely unsatisfactory situation for these A-level students, still days later after the results came out last Thursday.
Now, Labour's Shadow Education Secretary, Kate Green, was also asked if she backed calls by people like the former Conservative Education Secretary, Kenneth Baker, to delay the GCSE results, to allow time for a review of this algorithm. She said that delay would be unfair on the pupils. However, the Children's Commissioners for the 4 UK nations, including the Children's Commissioner for Wales, who spoke to this programme a little earlier, have been saying that a delay probably would be a good idea. But certainly for the government, what they're going to have to do is find a way out of effectively what is a very toxic political situation for them, where it looks as though they're presiding over a system which is hitting some of the most disadvantaged pupils hardest.
Iain Watson, good to talk to you. Thank you very much.
And we will be continuing to talk about that throughout the programme in about 5 minutes' time as well. We've got lots more on that. I'm sure lots of you will want to watch. Search teams looking for 2 missing brothers off the Lancashire coast have recovered 2 bodies.